guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy. He's been married to his wife for 7 months, with her for 5 years, and he described his relationship with her as awesome. Those were his exact words. Hooking up left and right, going out on dates quite often. She was supportive of his career, great with their 1-year-old son. Whole 9 yards, he's on cloud 9. Until they started having a little change in their lives, and one day he discovered that she was cheating on him. And now he's pretty much at a crossroads wondering what to do. And he's writing into me as well as asking you guys, the community, for advice. So there's going to be audience participation in this video when we're done. And he wants to know what he should do because he's really torn because he's gotten her to pretty much apologize, and she says she wants to work on the relationship and all that, and she loves him and blah, blah, blah. And even went so far as to make her admit what she did to her whole family, post on social media what she did, essentially shaming herself, all that, which I think is quite funny. But now he's wondering what to do because he doesn't want his son to grow up in a broken household and all that. And while that's admirable, I don't want to see this guy make a big mistake and be in a situation where he's made to look like a fool and had this happen again. So I'm going to go through his story here, guys. It's definitely interesting, and I think, like I said, this guy, he's looking for our help. So definitely, guys, be ready with your keyboard to start typing some information because I think this guy, I think he's looking for a pass to stay with his wife, which you'll see my opinion about this when the story's over. So it starts off, he says, "Hi, SSM. I got a doozy. I'm a big fan of your channel and had the rug pulled out for me unexpectedly last weekend. It would mean a lot to me if you could go over my story and you and the community could get feedback. Anyway, here goes." Well, brother, I can tell you right now, I know the community and you are going to get a whole lot of feedback from the dudes that watch this. I've been married to my wife for 7 months. We've been together for 5 years. Everything wasn't just great. It was awesome. No, not as awesome as you may have thought, my man. Compared to typical females, she actually is one to do work and invest in the relationship. We have a 1-year-old son who she does a wonderful job raising. She supports my goals and even took on a part of the financial burden when I quit a previously stressful job. We were having, multiple times a week and would go out regularly on dates. Okay, that all sounds great. I mean, that's an ideal relationship, and hell, that's an ideal marriage. Problem is, you're going to see what happens, guys, when things start becoming actually difficult, where life's events, because guess what? Life isn't an easy thing. There's always roadblocks and headaches. Watch how she handles things. The trouble started when we moved out from our apartment after we got married. My sister-in-law had a room in her house opened up. She and her husband are the godparents to our child. They love him to death and they treat him like their own. They also have 2 boys, and they get along great with my son as well. Although I liked our arrangement in the apartment, I knew the space was limited. I also thought having extra caretakers could help with watching the baby, and helping my son's cousins around would be a boon for his social development. I agreed to the move and began the work to make it happen. Okay, so now you're staying with the family, so that could make things a little challenging. Due to our schedules, the burden fell on me to do most of the work. Pay attention here, most of the work for him. I did it because it was an easy decision for my family. However, this meant that for a period of about a month, guys, I was completely booked and had limited time for my wife. My days were spent working, moving items, and then caring for our son. Very tiring work. There would be nights where I would fall asleep right after putting the baby to bed. Okay. So a month, he's really got to be going double time there, working to bring home money, take care of the kid, moving, all this stuff. So in the time being, little time for them to go out and him to hang out with her and all that. Okay, guess what? That's called marriage. That's called life. But guess what? She doesn't like that too much because God forbid for a whole whopping month, not a year, a month, this guy, his attention has to be elsewhere other than her all the time. My wife complained that we weren't spending a lot of time together, even though she said she understood the circumstances. She also complained that I didn't go down south on her enough. She knew I didn't particularly like doing that, but she said it meant a lot to her. Well, here's a question that we're all wondering. Is she going south on you? How about that? Because if she's not taking care of you, then why should you be doing that deed to her? And is she taking care of herself down south? Is she in good shape? Nobody wants to go down Down south on a chick that's got big blubbery legs? Is she properly groomed? No guy wants to do that when she looks like Chewbacca's sister, etc., etc. So is she taking care of herself? I made a concerted effort to spend more time with her and even made attempts to give her the intimacy she wanted. Her complaints started to reduce and things felt like they were getting back on track. Fast forward to Mother's Day, which was last weekend, guys. We've been living with my in-laws for a few months and we're settled in. On this day, our son was sick with a fever. We had originally made plans to go out for a brunch, but we instead decided to go do a home brunch. I told her I would take care of the baby so she could go have a fun in-home brunch with my in-laws, and she agreed. After they ate and drank, my wife told me that she and her sister would be going to Big Lots to get some items since there was a Mother's Day sale. It's one of her favorite stores, so I didn't think much of it. Even though she was pretty drunk from having her mimosas, her sister wasn't and said she would take care of her. She kissed me goodbye and left. When my wife and sister-in-law got back, she was still drunk. It had been about 3 hours, so it was weird to me that she hadn't sobered up a bit. I told her to take a nap and sleep it off. At one point, I went to the bathroom and noticed her phone on the floor. As soon as I picked it up, a text came in from a person named Chris. I don't know of any Chris, so this seemed really odd to me. I didn't want to jump at any conclusions, so I decided to check her text. We both had the passwords to each other's phones, but rarely did we ever check each other's phones. But something told me to look. Trust your gut, and yeah, if there's a message coming in from another dude, you bet your ass you're going to look. I opened the message and it said, "Thank you for coming over." Thank you for coming over? I thought she was going to Big Lots to go shopping. Now I was on high alert. There was no mention from her or my sister or sister-in-law that they'd be meeting up with anyone. I still didn't want to assume the worst, so I scrolled up the text log. There is where I saw several nudes, boob pictures, and sausage pics, and many messages of S-word nature. I didn't even have to read it all. I put two and two together and pieced that my wife had left to have you-know-what with another man, and my sister-in-law drove her there. Holy shit. That sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that. So much for that awesome marriage you had there, huh? And God forbid 1 month where you couldn't pay attention to her all the time and take her out because you were taking care of the family, doing what you had to do with the move, working to pay the bills, taking care of the baby. God forbid you weren't giving her all the attention and so she had to go out and get it someplace else like that. So, my man, this is what happens this is why you got to be with somebody for a long time and have a situation, guys, that are when you have real life happen, to see how they handle it. Obviously, she's unhappy. This is not an excuse, but she's unhappy. But instead of communicating that she's unhappy in a real way that you can understand, and I don't mean by complaining, she's got to go out and get some sausage someplace else. This is how she resolves problems. This is not a good situation to be in. And I might add, her sister, this dude's sister-in-law, drove her to get some sausage. So you can't trust her family as well, at least that sister. It gets worse. Needless to say, I had a flood of emotions take over, but I've always been the one to think before I act. As angry and embarrassed as I was, it only took one look at my son to compose myself. When he was born, I made a promise to him that I would do everything in my power to make sure he didn't end up in a broken home. I had seen too many people throughout my life go through nonsense because of their parents splitting up. It was very deflating knowing that he now was in the midst of that, especially since I couldn't do anything about it. It was especially insulting because not only did my wife know about the promise, but she regularly supported my stance strongly since she was from a broken home herself. Aha! There you go. This is why I tell you guys that you need to get to know your girl's family. See what they're like. Are they from a broken home? This could have an impact on your future relationship. This is so important. And also how they are resolving problems when they arise. You can see here, her way of dealing with her not being happy was to go out and cheat and get attention elsewhere. These are two things that could have been figured out. But you don't want your son to grow up in a broken home, but she's already broken it. So, you didn't do anything. It's not your fault, my man. You're a good dad. I immediately woke up my wife and told her we needed to talk. She was still a little drunk, but she came to our room and I asked her, point blank, who Chris was. She immediately opened her eyes wide and said, "Who?" I told her that she left her phone in the bathroom and I saw the message that they sent. Who? Of course she said who. Deny. She finally admitted it and that was bad enough. But the next part broke me. I asked her if there was anyone else she was talking to. She looked me in the eyes and said no. I asked her to open her phone, and upon seeing her text log, there was another thread underneath. Chris's messages from another dude that was S-word in nature. So one dude isn't enough. She's got to have multiple dudes. Again, so much for the awesome marriage. The second there's any kind of problems, this is her way of dealing with it. And again, remember, she comes from a broken home. I'm not saying this to be unkind. I'm pointing out the obvious because this guy needs to hear this. For the majority of our relationship, we had great communication. Well, because obviously things were going well, but now things are obviously there's challenges in your marriage, and she's not getting the attention. So this is her way of dealing with the problem, with no communication. Even for the few moments where she was apprehensive about being open, she always came around and opened up. She also knew that the only real way to disrespect our relationship was to talk to me and treat me like I was stupid. We made an agreement early on that when we asked direct questions, we would give each other direct answers. It seemed to work for over 5 years until the move. When she lied in my face, she did it without hesitation. The disrespect and disregard about the lying hurt me way more than her sleeping with another guy. You're starting to see her true character. You're starting to see how she handles things when there are issues and problems. She then began to blame me, imagine that, saying that I didn't spend enough time with her or go down on her enough. Back to the going down thing. Good God, honey. It honestly seemed like a cheap cop-out. You're damn right it is. Knowing her, there was something else going on and she didn't want to take accountability for it. Shocker. Her behaviors reeked of self-sabotage and I wanted to know why. Unfortunately, I also felt it wouldn't get any clear answers since she was still drunk. I honestly couldn't even look at her. It disgusted me that she would risk the life we had built together with her son and the way she did it. So let's review. She's done all this. She's cheating and all that, making him out to be the best. Now she's blaming him. It's your fault that I did this, not mine. I'm blameless here. Even though this guy's been busting his butt to take care of her and the baby and working and moving and all that stuff. And God forbid for a month, he's not giving her all the attention. This is how she handles it. I was left to sit in my thoughts for the next 6 hours. I distracted myself by continuing to care for my child until he went to sleep for the night. I took a long shower and then went to confront my wife in her sister's room. I could tell she didn't want to talk, but I told her that if she didn't talk now, I'd be leaving with the baby, and she agreed to come out and talk. Good. The most powerful thing a dude can do is leave or say, I'm going to leave, so we're going to talk. By this point, she still hadn't apologized. Again, brother, these are all things I'm hoping you're tucking away as to reason, saying, stay with her, leave. Stay with her, leave. These aren't a whole lot of good things she's doing here to give reason to try to make this thing work, which I'll get to in the end. She hadn't apologized. That irked me, but I chalked up as her being drunk and caught in the moment of having to be accountable. I pressed a bit on why she did what she did, and she finally copped to the self-sabotage. When I pressed more, she admitted that she was stressed out about everything in life. Hey, newsflash, there isn't probably anybody walking the earth that doesn't have some stress in their lives about something. It doesn't mean they're going to go use that as an excuse to go ruin their relationships with a great person here, man or woman. You know, oh, I'm stressed, so I need some sausage. She had a hectic work schedule. She had to take care of the baby, and combined with the stress of moving out, she was overwhelmed. Newsflash, I'm sure there are plenty of people that have similar type of stress, and again, they don't go out and cheat on their significant other and ruin things. But again, we're in an era where nobody's to blame for anything, and we know the whole joke about women and accountability. She also resented the fact that I left a stressful job and got into a less stressful one. In addition, she hated that I was able to go to the gym every day and work on myself, but not spend more time with her. All this was news to me and had not been mentioned before. So no communication. Imagine if she just talked to you. But this is how she handles problems, brother. This is why I say it's so important in communication in relationships. I ultimately asked her what she wanted to do about our situation. I wouldn't have asked her. I would have said, this is what we're going to do. She said she didn't want a divorce and that she wanted to work it out. I told her our relationship was dead the moment she lied to my face. She insisted she wanted to work it out and would do anything to fix it. She also finally apologized. Isn't that amazing? again, how similar these stories are. They do what they do the dirty deed, and next thing you know, I'm so sorry, I'll do anything to make it up to you. As much as I know about female nature from watching your channel and others, not to mention my personal experiences, I couldn't just walk away. I kept going back to the promise I made to my son. Deep down, I still love my wife, and as risky as it was, I need to see if there was anything I could do to salvage this and not look like a complete idiot. Bro, I'm going to be honest with you. If you stay with her after this, you're going to look like a complete idiot. The only way you're not going to look like a complete idiot is you end it. I'm not saying you walk out that second, but you start getting the wheels turning with it. Speak to a divorce attorney and try to handle this amicably, because there are just too many things here about her nature. Her true self is coming out in the things you're telling me here, that I see you having a happy future with her, let alone not looking like an idiot. And I'll elaborate more on that later. I respect you love your son and you don't want him to grow up in an unhappy household, but I'm telling you, given what you're telling me here in the story, and we're not done yet, guys, he's not going to grow up in a happy house. I told her that I couldn't trust her, that since our relationship was dead, anything we do would have to be a clean slate, and that it couldn't be like before since it didn't work. I also called her out on her lack of accountability. Good for you. She couldn't come to me at any time. She could have come to me at any time and had an honest conversation like we had for years. I know that women can be overwhelmed by their emotions, but that this wasn't some random reaction. Don't make excuses for her or any other woman about being overwhelmed by their emotions. That does not justify the bullshit they pull on good men. This was the decision she made, and she had to live with it. I also told her that I couldn't just forgive her and take her back. From all the female nature videos I've seen, one of the worst things you can do is just forgive and forget. She had to do something that would show that she would take accountability for what she did and own it. I told her that if she wanted any chance of me trusting her again and giving our relationship another shot, that she had to send a group text to her family that she had you-know-what with another dude on Mother's Day, while her husband stayed at home watching their sick child. I also told her that she had to post this on Instagram as well. I honestly didn't think she would do it. She's very particular on what she posts there, and especially hates when other people comment negatively on her. Women, at least in my experience, are allergic to accountability, especially something in public. But lo and behold, to my utter shock, she actually did it. Wow, I'm actually surprised too, but good for you, making her send that group text to her family and posting that on Instagram. That's pretty funny, bro. Good job. But you're going to see, guys, some of her family already knows what she's up to. I didn't know what to think, but I found myself in the awkward spot of following through on my word. Another part of me felt like she might actually want to salvage our relationship. We ended up talking for most of the night. She vented quite a bit and apologized profusely. She also said that the thought of putting our son through a divorce had not dawned on her. Imagine that. She was thinking about herself and only herself. Because remember, when there's a betrayal going on, it isn't just on the husband. It's also on the kids. But do you think these wives give a shit, especially nowadays? No. Another thing she mentioned was that her sister didn't particularly like me and would regularly talk bad about me behind my back. I always got the sense of this, but this was the first time she had mentioned it. Now we're getting somewhere. Her own sister doesn't like this dude. Remember I tell you guys to pay attention who your girl hangs out with, whether it be her female friends or even her family. Now, if they don't like you, for whatever reason that might be, if you're a good guy and they don't like you, that ought to tell you something about them. Maybe they're a bunch of fat asses and they can't get a guy. Maybe they are just simply not with a man, so they want to sabotage her thing. Who knows? But remember earlier it said that the sister drove her to that dude's house to get some sausage. You want to be in a marriage like that? You want your son growing up and being around those types that obviously don't like you and trying to sabotage your relationship? It ain't going to stop, my man. I let her know under no uncertain terms that what happened was a terrible decision she made, and in no way, shape, or form was any of it my fault. I also told her I wouldn't allow any form of rationalizing of her decision. Good for you. She agreed and took ownership of everything before bursting into tears. Of course she burst into tears. That is the last resort. That is the go-to thing to get the guy to be like, okay, we'll try again. Even though she had wrecked our home, her taking accountability is having me take another look at this. Smack. I'll come back to that in a moment. I'm not sure what I should do moving forward. I told my wife that when our son grows up, I would have to tell him one or two stories. It would either be the story about how his mother ruined our marriage and caused a split, or the story how his mother made a terrible decision, owned up to it, and became a better wife and mother. Logically, I know this makes me look like a fool, a la Will Smith. You said it, not me, bro. But for the sake of my son and the unprecedented move she took to be accountable, which I asked for, I feel I owe it to them to give this another shot. I'd like to hear your opinion of that and of the community. Thanks for reading this. It felt good to get it out. Take care, SSM. Let me know if you post this or have any other questions. Okay. My man, high five for getting her to send this to her family, what she did, and another high five for having her put this on social media. That's hilarious. That's some P-word control there. And I'm glad you're calling her out and all this and all that. That's good. But dude, I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to be blunt with you, I think I made a mistake to stay with her. I respect, and it's admirable that you would try to move past this because your boy, you don't want your boy to grow up in a broken home and all that, and you love him that much that you're willing to move past this and in your words, look like a fool. But I'm telling you right now, she's demonstrated right then, when things aren't great all the time, how she handles it. Not well. She couldn't communicate to you in a way you could understand that she was unhappy, so she had to go out and get some sausage. God forbid for a whole month, or maybe a little bit longer than that, you had to not focus on her all the time, and look what you got, okay? And sure, it was it was the first 5 years before your son was born, it was a lot easier and awesome, as you said, because the son wasn't in the picture. So it sounds like you had very minimal real-life headaches to deal with, but once things got real, this is how she handles things. So you see that she's obviously a bad communicator. She cheated on you, and also the family that you said that you found that her sisters don't like you. How about her standing up to them? Is she telling them to kiss her ass, that if you don't like my husband, then we're done? I'm not hearing anything about that, her standing up for you. A good wife would do that. And now you know the sister helped her. The sister drove her to go hook up with some Chatter Tyrone and get some Tyrone sausage. Okay? Not a good situation to be in. And the fact that, yeah, she obviously wants to stay with you, but because right now, obviously doesn't want to get divorced, but this, in my opinion, no good can come from this. And in my opinion, it is better that your son grows up in a household that you split and you start over and all that, and you can be happy and be in a situation that you don't have to be walking around with, like, you're sleeping with your eye open and all that. Because if you stay with her, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to forget this. You're going to be thinking about this every time she's on that phone. You're going to be thinking about this every time she goes off with her sisters. It's not going to go away. And that's no way to live, no way to be in a relationship, even though you love your boy that much. Also, again, back to, do you want to be with her and that family that did that to you? Right? Or the fact that she can't communicate. So these are all big things that, in my opinion, if it was me, I wouldn't stick around, okay? I would try to handle it as amicably as possible. I would consult a divorce attorney and find out all your options, good, bad, or ugly. And remember, a man can make it. A man can start over. If there's a common theme to all these stories I do, guys, is that guys go through a lot of shit. They try their best, and it doesn't work out. They get divorced, they get hammered in varying degrees, but then they start again and move on, and they come out stronger, and they come out fighters, because that's what we are. We're fighters. We don't back down. Real men don't back the fuck down. Real men keep on fighting. They get back in that ring. They don't let themselves be defeated, okay? So I would really think this thing over about staying with you. You don't have to make a decision today or tomorrow or on Monday, because this is a Saturday morning, but I would seriously think about what I have to say here. I don't want to see the same crap happen again. And remember, if a woman doesn't respect you, she doesn't love you. And if you take her back after this, believe me, there's going to be a part of her that even though she's crying and putting on the whole show, she's going to lose respect for you. And this could happen down the road. Because the second, again, when her needs weren't being met in her view, this is how she handled it. Okay? So this will happen again. Maybe not for a long time, but it will happen again. I'm telling you. And so at the end of the day, you'll do what you feel is best. Okay? I can't tell you what to do. I mean, I can say what I think you should do. I can tell you what I would do, but at the end of the day, you're going to make that choice. So I'd really think about this and go forward. You can still be a great dad, and your boy can be raised great if you aren't together. But I just do not see this being a good situation if you stay together with her past this whole thing. And I'm sorry to say, man, I don't mean to be a jerk, but yes, you will look like an idiot if you stay with her after all this. Okay, I'm being straight with you. So guys, all you guys in the community that's watching this, comment away. This guy needs to hear your opinion. He needs to hear what you all think. Dudes all over the world, because I know you all from all over the world, all walks of life, religion, culture, ages, help this guy out. This is why we're here. This is why I do this channel. And I've done plenty of videos with dudes writing and saying how my work has helped them. So here we go. This may not be what you want to hear, bro, but you wrote in, so I'm going to give you my honest answer. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. Let this guy know. And, guys, you got a really good story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time and I'll get to it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.